So welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. This is Penn Engineering Online's admissions webinar, and I am so excited to be back doing this again. This is our first webinar of the application cycle. So we're currently accepting applications for spring 2024, and this is the first webinar out of the gate. So we're so excited to be back with all of you. So let me introduce myself. My name is Jacquie Panto. I am the admissions recruitment manager at Penn Engineering Online. So I work with all prospective students and help them through the admissions process and help them with all their questions about the application. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you over the next several weeks. So as I mentioned, this is the first webinar of our cycle. And again, we're really excited that so many of you are with us. We have such a great webinar planned for you today, and we have a special guest with us today. We have Olivia Roth, and Olivia is our Director of Online Academic Programs. And the really great thing about Olivia, there's many, of course, but the really great thing about Olivia is that she has been with Penn Engineering Online since it was developed, since it's been in existence. So she's been here from the beginning. She knows so much about our program. She helped to develop our programs, and she's here today to talk about our MCIT program, about our MSEDS Online program. She'll talk about how our courses are structured, and about our awesome community and how you can get involved. So really excited to hear what she has to say, and you're definitely in for a real treat. So before we get started, I just want to go over some what I call webinar housekeeping tips. The first thing I want to let you know is that you are being recorded. So there is no need to frantically take notes. If you forget everything we said, you can go back and rewatch this as many times as you want. So that really does give you a nice option that you can go back and you can totally pay attention now for sure. If you have questions, the way we're going to work that, there's a Q&A function in Zoom. What we want you to do is to type your questions out in that Q&A function. We do have a great team behind the scenes, and they'll be answering your questions in that function, but they'll also be saving some questions for the end to be answered by Olivia and myself. So some are going to get answered in the Q&A, and other ones will be saved for the end, and we will answer them on camera. So regardless, please put all questions in that Q&A function. So I think I have covered everything, hopefully. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get started. And Olivia, thanks so much. It's all yours.
Thank you, Jackie. Hey, everybody. My name is Olivia Roth, as Jackie mentioned. I'm really excited to be here with you today and to talk about some of our awesome opportunities with Penn Engineering Online. So why would you consider a Penn Engineering Online degree? This slide lists a few reasons. There are many, but one is that you get to study with world-renowned faculty. So what this means is that the faculty who teach our online classes are also the faculty who teach our on-campus classes. So it's the same faculty teaching both classes, and therefore you get that authentic experience and expertise of those same folks. Another cool thing about our degree programs is that they're asynchronous, and that means that all of the content is fully online. It means that there are no required sessions that you need to attend, and you can watch the content on your own time. And then finally, you can take the courses on a schedule that suits your life plans. So if you want to take just one course a semester or two, or take off the summer to go on vacation, those are all options. So you can kind of decide if you want to go slowly through the program. We have students that work full-time and they take just one course at a time. They call themselves the Turtle Club. So you could join the Turtle Club and take one course at a time, or you could try to speed through by going full-time if that's what works for you. So there are a lot of different options, and we have academic advisors that will work with you to find a schedule that works just for your specific situation. So first, I'm going to talk about our flagship MCIT Online program. I'm so proud of this program. It's a first of its kind graduate level degree. It's in computer science, and it's for non-computer science majors. So that means that you can have any sort of bachelor's degree. And all you need is some quantitative aptitude and a little bit of mathematical genius, and we will consider you. So the idea is that maybe you want to pivot to another different kind of career, or maybe you were an engineer, but you didn't study computer science specifically. There are so many different scenarios that we see, which is one of the things about this program that's so exciting, because it lends itself to a lot of diversity in the type of students that we have. So MCIT as a degree is not new. It's been around on campus since 2001. So the curriculum is very tried and true, very established. What's cool as well is that the knowledge you get from an MCIT degree is the same that you would get from a master's in computer science and engineering. So the reason it's a different credential is because it's for folks without a bachelor's in computer science. So it can't be the exact same credential, but it has the exact same outcomes. And then finally, the diploma does not say online on it anywhere. It is the same diploma that the on-campus students get. It's just a different mechanism for your learning experience. So if you do not want to disclose that it was an online program on your resume, that's totally fine. And we understand. We're not offended. And we just want this content to reach lots of different people. And with the online format, we can do that. So this slide has some demographic information about our current MCIT Online student population. So as you can see, we have about 1,600 active students. I think we're pretty close to steady state at this point. So we don't expect to expand much bigger than this. This is kind of like our prime number of students, so that we have volume, so that students can connect with other students, and yet it's also small enough that we can give some of that personal attention. So 57% of our students are international. We have folks studying from all over the world, which is really fun, 44 different countries. We're really proud that we have 44% women in our program. Love to get that number even higher, but as you probably know, computer science is traditionally underrepresented with women, and so that is something that we really want to impact in the field. And then we had a very wide range of ages as well, so from 21 all the way to 60. We have folks who are, just out of college, and then we have folks who are, at the tail end of their career, or perhaps even retired. So lots of different reasons to do this degree, and a lot of different life stories that you'll encounter in this program. So this slide talks about the curriculum of the program for MCIT. And as you can see, there's 10 courses total. 6 of those are the core courses that everybody takes. And those are the core courses that really build your fundamental understanding of computer science. So they are grouped here in this list in chronological order, and some people take them in that order. But another way to think about them is to group them into 3 subcategories. So, 2 of them are coding courses. That would be 5910 and 5940. 2 of them are more mathematical in nature. That would be 5920 and 5960. And then 2 of them are more hardware related. So that's 5930 and 5950. So by the time you take all of these courses, your understanding of the fundamentals of computer science is very complete, I would say. It's the type of thing where there's so much to cover that each individual course may not cover every single concept that you might need to know, but we've designed it such that by the time you get to the end of the 6, the information sort of like comes together at the end in such a way that students feel they can teach themselves any new thing that they would need to know related to this topic. So maybe there's an elective that requires a language, a programming language that you haven't learned yet. You can teach yourself that language with the knowledge that you have so that you're ready for that new elective. And then on campus, MCIT students are taking their electives with the computer science master's degree students. So you've risen to such a level that you can take classes with the more traditional masters of computer science students, which is really cool. We have a bunch of different topics for our electives, stuff about Amazon Cloud and TensorFlow. We have courses on machine learning and AI and data science. If you go to our website, you can see a full listing of all of our elective courses. And I have to say, we keep thinking we're going to be done making courses, and we're just not. I think it's something that will be happening for a long time. Technology is something that is always expanding and changing and growing. And so we just can't help ourselves and we want to create more. So we've been doing that. And what's cool is that even if you finish up your 10 courses and there's more electives that you want to take, which is kind of common, we have mechanisms for you to do so as an alumni as well, but that's another story. So we can move on to the next slide. So now I'm going to tell you about the Online Masters of Science and Engineering in Data Science. So this is our second degree program that's online, and it is also mirrored after an on-campus successful degree. So we're so excited to bring this to folks online because once again, it expands the reach of people that we can access and we can help to teach. So one thing that's different about this degree, as I mentioned, the first degree, MCIT Online, is for people without a computer science background. In contrast, MSEDS Online is for people with a computer science background. So one of the criteria is an undergraduate degree in computer science. So that would be kind of the most traditional path. Now, that said, we know that some people don't necessarily have a full major in computer science, but they have a lot of exposure to different quantitative subjects. So as you can see on this slide, there's two other scenarios where a person would be qualified to apply to the MSEDS Online as well. So in the second bullet, you can see that if you have about 5 4-credit computer science courses with the list that you see, then you would be eligible. Another situation is if you have an undergraduate degree in a highly quantitative field like statistics or math or physics, and you have up to 2 years of work experience as a software developer, that would also qualify you. Now, if you're wondering, you're looking at this list and you're thinking, I'm not sure if this is me, what you can do is reach out to our admissions team because they'd be happy to chat with you about it in your specific situation. Is that right, Jackie? She's like, I'm on mute.
I had to unmute. I'm sorry. Absolutely. That happens quite often where we have people reach out and we kind of work through it and talk with them. So by all means, email us and we'll help you out with that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes a person might be kind of like wavering between MCIT and MSEDS. That's another example where you're welcome to reach out to our team and they're happy to talk you through it. So MSCDS is a place to deepen your knowledge in areas such as big data systems, deep learning, natural language processing, and there's people who have titles of data scientist, and this allows you to become a data engineer. So it's kind of leveling up in a really robust way. So even more about our MSEDS Online program, as I was saying, it's an engineering science degree. So you may see other data science programs out there that are based in maybe the business school or the College of Liberal Arts, perhaps, but ours is an engineering degree. So I've already said the acronym, but you can see it right there. It's an MSE, which is very quantitative, very computational, and very known and recognized in the field as something that will be very rigorous and something that will serve you very well in the marketplace. So I think that you probably can't escape data science these days. It's everywhere. It's permeating in all kinds of different fields of study, and its possibilities are growing every day. So it's a really exciting opportunity, and Penn has a long history of being a forefront in this field. And so our faculty are just experts and excited to reach out to this broader population by using the online format. This slide shows the curriculum for MSEDS. So basically, you can see it's a little bit more, it has more categories than the MCIT curriculum. There are core courses. In this case, there are 4. And there are technical electives, also 4, and then open electives. Now, even within these categories, there is a lot of flexibility. So as you can see, if you wanted to take 5 core courses, 1 as your technical elective, that would be fine. If you wanted to take extra tech electives, you could do that. So I like this curriculum because you can really customize it to exactly what you're interested in within data science. So some of our electives are relatively new, like natural language processing is coming out very soon, as well as principles of deep learning. So this gets into a little bit more of the AI side of things. But of course, you also have the fundamentals with the core courses, the big data analytics, the databases and information systems, machine learning for data science, and statistics for data science. So again, we are often creating new electives. These are the ones we have as of this moment, but that can definitely change and grow. We also have an elective, which is a practicum, and you get to come to campus for 1 week. So there is an in-person component to that particular elective. Again, it's an optional elective, so you can still keep all of your studies online if you so choose. But if you wanted to visit us on campus for 1 week, that is part of that experience. And it helps to build your portfolio so that you have more projects to show when you are courting employers. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say about these electives. Oh, I know one more thing I wanted to say, which is that we have so many cool electives, and one option, if you start an MCIT and you have a really solid academic record with us, is you can go ahead and merge into the MSE curriculum with a dual degree. So what you can do is, as you can imagine, if you were to take both of the master's degrees separately, that would be a total of 20 course units. But if you do the dual degree, you could get both for 16. So it's a bit of a deal, and especially if you're interested in data science specifically, it's a great way to get to take all of those electives and fit them all in. If you wanted to do sort of a light version of that, we also have a data science certificate. So you could take the MCIT Online Degree and then add a data science certificate to that. Our certificates are 4 credit, so they get you a transcript and Penn credit, and you can list them on your resume, sort of like a specialization. And all that to say, we have lots of different ways of mixing and matching our content, and it stacks upon itself so that you can, even if you're a beginner, you can start out and then grow to be more of an expert in this field. What is the course experience like? So this is a really important topic because there are a lot of different kinds of online courses out there. So one thing we do is we pre-record all of the lecture material. So we have designers that work side by side with our faculty to make sure their content is very organized and scaffolded and professionally filmed, so that on day one, when the course opens and you get access to the course, you have immediate access to all of the course videos from the instructor. And then after that, the way it works is that the assignments open up about 1 or 2 weeks at a time. So perhaps you're in a course that has a 2-week assignment, so you would be able to see all of the content up until that point, all of the practice quizzes. You could work on the assignment whenever it suits your schedule. And then at the same time, there are synchronous sessions that you can attend. So that would be like office hours offered by the teaching assistant or offered by the professor, and you can choose a live session that works with your schedule. If you can't make that live session, then you can watch the recordings later. So what we're trying to say is that we try to make the experience as flexible as we can, so you don't have to attend the live sessions, but there are live sessions for you if that really enhances your learning style. In addition to that, we have online discussion forums. So each course has its own discussion board page where you can post questions, and teaching assistants and instructors will be in there all the time, helping students with course-specific questions. And then, like I said, the teaching assistants will have office hours. They might have what we call recitations for a particular course. So you can attend those as well to get that extra learning and support along the way. Now, an online program can sometimes feel isolating, and we want you to know that when you are a part of a Penn Engineering Online degree, you're a part of a larger global community. And what we found is that somehow we're able to find students who are really active and generous in giving their time and advice and friendship. So one example of how our students connect with each other is through a Slack workspace. So Slack is kind of a texting app, sort of like Microsoft Teams. And we have, I think, almost 2,000 students in our Slack workspace by now. And so what this means is students can connect with each other individually. They can connect with each other as a group. They can find each other based on common geography. So, we have students who live in the Bay Area who meet up in real life every other month, for example. Or if you want to try to form a study group based on people who are in your time zone, you can do that through Slack. We have a pets channel. We have a support channel. These are all channels that were created by students, so it's very organic. I oversee our advising team, and I do have advisors that are hanging out and just providing some light moderation, because of course we want to make sure that the space is safe and comfortable for everyone. But our students rave about the Slack workspace. It's not required, so if you're the type of learner who wants to just put their head down and not necessarily connect with other students, that is totally fine. And that is an option for each and every student. And then we also have these opportunities for connection as well. I think sometimes people are also skeptical that they'll be able to form connections online, and they're often really surprised at the level that they can connect with folks. We have people who've definitely formed friendships that transition into real life or perhaps stay virtual. And it's really moving to see, especially when we occasionally have our in-person events and folks are able to meet up in real life, sometimes for the first time. So we also have LinkedIn groups for our different degree programs, and that's kind of a networking tool that you can use for the short term and the long term so that everybody can stay connected professionally, even after graduation. Our students in MCIT Online formed a club. It's called MOSA, MCIT Online Student Association, and that's one example of community engagement that our students participate in. So MOSA is, again, student-led, and they will organize hackathons, they will organize webinars starring alumni, let's say, or folks working in, you know, hot fields that everybody wants to get into. And so that is, again, available for folks who want to participate, or you can just soak up the benefit of being someone who is part of a program with such a club. So we have events as well. Some of our events are virtual. Most of our events are virtual on a day-to-day basis, with things like whenever there's a new elective, we try to host a webinar with the instructor so students can learn more about the upcoming elective and ask questions to the faculty directly. And then also we'll host different offices from around the university to share their resources with our students. And we might have networking events so students can meet up with each other virtually. And then as well, we have in-person events. And this has kind of increased recently since the conditions of the pandemic have eased up a little bit. And so we've sort of fallen into a rhythm and a tradition of every fall inviting students to Penn's campus for a fall festival conference. And we'll have faculty give presentations, and we'll give tours of the campus. We'll have this year, I believe, a site visit or two as well. And then we also try to do like a summer road trip where our staff travels to somewhere outside of our wonderful state of Pennsylvania. So actually just last week, a bunch of us went to the Bay Area, which is one area where we have a cluster of students, and we were able to meet up with a lot of people in real life. I was there, and so if I look peaked, it's because I'm still adjusting to the time change, but it was so worth it. We did site visits at Google, Tesla, and C3 AI. We had so much fun just relaxing with each other and venting about classes. And again, it's the degree program is an intense experience. And so when you are going through that experience with other people, it tends to really form a bond. And it's amazing how that works even online, and then to have it be just emphasized in real life is really awesome. And then of course we invite students to campus for graduation in May every year. And this year a student said to me, "This is so different from past graduations. So usually at graduation, everybody's sad. They're not gonna see each other again. And at our graduation, it's really joyous because folks are meeting faculty that they've never met before in real life. They're meeting each other. And it's just, it's kind of a magical experience to be together in the Penn space. So I strongly believe that community is an important part of the degree experience. And there's more I could talk about related to that, but I know I need to give Jackie a chance. So I will pass it along to her.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Olivia. I know I love talking about the community too, because ours is certainly not like other online programs, because it's just so robust and lively. And you see that when the students come together. So I agree with you for sure. But I do want to move on. I want to spend some time talking about application details and working on your application. So I'm sure many of you hopefully have started your application. So what I want to do is just spend a little bit of time here. So let's just briefly talk about the application. So when you go to work on your application, and in order to submit your application, you'll need an updated resume. You'll need a personal statement, and the questions that we want answered as part of the personal statement are all listed on the application very clearly. You'll need to upload your unofficial college transcripts for every college course you've taken. So if you went to multiple colleges, we'll need the transcripts for all of those colleges. So you'll list them on the application, you'll upload those transcripts. And then there's a $90 application fee. So in order to actually submit, those are the items that you need to submit. In addition to that, however, you will need letters of recommendation. So as part of the application, you'll complete the contact information for the recommenders that you want to contact to write that letter of recommendation. That's part of the application. But we don't actually need to receive the letters by the time you submit. We need to receive the letters by application deadline. So letters of recommendation are part of the process. The two optional items, the one optional item is the GRE or the GMAT. We don't require a GRE or a GMAT, it's optional. It can be used as a tool for the applicant. And the TOEFL is only required if you're not a US citizen or not a US permanent resident. So if English isn't your primary language, you're not a US citizen, not a US permanent resident, you will need to provide a TOEFL. However, the TOEFL can be waived if you went to a university, say an international university, a university outside the United States, but the program was taught in English, and your degree was conferred in that program that was taught in English, then the TOEFL can be waived. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes and just some important tips about these application items, just to give you some ideas of things that I've seen and questions that have come to me. First off, for the personal statement, it is really important that you answer every question that we ask you. So if you go into the application, open up personal statement, there'll be prompts there, different questions. Answer all the questions. That's really important. Sometimes we do we'll get these great personal statements, but maybe the applicant didn't actually answer all the questions. So that's kind of important. We don't do interviews. We don't conduct interviews during the application process. So this is kind of like an interview. We're trying to get to know you. This is your best opportunity for us to kind of get to know you on paper, but hopefully you're really taking a deep dive into who you are and why you're a great candidate for this program. The other thing that I wanted to point out too is that a lot of times folks don't include all their college transcripts. They might upload a transcript, and within the transcript, we're seeing transfer credits, T's or TRs that are representing transfer credits. So you received credit for the course, but there's no grade. And then we have to come back to you, and it takes more time, and then you have to go search for that transcript and upload that transcript. So if you get it right from the beginning, it just makes the process a lot easier, and it also doesn't jeopardize the opportunity for your application to be read. So make sure all colleges that you attended, all college courses that you took, please be sure to include them in the application and to upload all of those transcripts. That's important. For letters of recommendation, really a couple of key things here. Think about who you're asking. Recommenders should be people that know you well, and they should be people that have overseen your work, your projects. If you're just coming out of an undergraduate degree or a master's degree, and that was fairly recent, and you want to use a professor, that's fine, because they've overseen your work. And again, you want to use professors that know you well enough to write a good recommendation. A supervisor or a manager would be a great idea. I always use the example, I report to the director of marketing, or I don't necessarily report to Olivia, but Olivia knows my work and we work together on projects. So if I were to apply to the program, I could use Olivia as a recommender, and hopefully she would give me a glowing recommendation for the program. So that would be an example where she's not necessarily, I don't directly report to her, but she knows my work, she knows my projects. So you really want, that's really key in picking the right recommender. And to be honest with you, you don't want a recommender that's just going to write you a couple of sentences on why you're a wonderful person. You really want to think hard about somebody that knows you and can talk maybe about the whys, why you are an organized person, why you have this great quantitative aptitude, whatever it is that they're going to say, but maybe people that can also discuss the whys. So think about that and put some thought into it. I think that's really important. I also mentioned that the GRE is optional. Again, especially for students that are applicants that are applying to the MCIT program, if you feel your application, if your coursework is not showing quantitative ability, you can use the GRE to show proof of quantitative ability. That's typically when applicants will send in those scores. You can see all the dates and deadlines here. If you're applying for early application deadline, that deadline is August 2nd. That is when the deadline is, and it seems to be June 1st is when the application opened, and August 2nd is the deadline. There is a typo there. So please be clear that the deadline for the application and the deadline for the Dean's Master Scholarship, if you're going to be applying to that, those are both August 2nd. Okay, so there is a little bit of a typo on there. So while we're talking about the Dean's Master Scholarship, let me go to the next slide and talk a little bit about tuition and the scholarship, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So tuition, our tuition is based on course units. So our tuition is $3,300 per course unit. And as Olivia mentioned, each program is 10 course units. And again, this is current tuition right now for the current 23 school year. So this is the total tuition would be $30,300 for tuition. And then there is a fee. There's a $150 course fee or for $1,500. So you're looking at, if I can do my math, we're looking at $34,800 would be the tuition for right now for the current tuition. The great news is that there are payment schedules, there are payment plans. We do give you 5 years to complete the program, so you also can spread your finances out over 5 years if you'd like to. There's also other ways that you can get involved. Some people are very interested in becoming a TA. Being a TA could also help to offset tuition, of course. So there are different ways that can help with tuition, and those things you can look into as an accepted student if you are accepted to the program. But we also offer a Dean's Master Scholarship. This is a great way to also help to offset cost of tuition. Basically, to apply to this, you must be a U.S. citizen or U.S. permanent resident. There's 2 questions. You answer those two questions. It's all done in the application. This is a need-based scholarship. This is not a merit-based scholarship. We're not looking at grades, test scores, anything along those lines, but we're looking for you to explain in that application what it is financially, why you need this scholarship. And then we also talk a little bit about diversity, how you can be inclusive and what can you give back to the program in terms of diversity and things along those lines. So that's what this scholarship is all about. So that kind of gives you a little bit of information on our tuition, on our scholarship. Again, please remember the Dean's Master Scholarship, that deadline is you can only apply to it during the early admission cycle. Deadline for that is August 2nd. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to questions, and we do have a few questions that came through. I see lots of questions, but we're going to kind of narrow it down to a few, so hopefully we get them all in. So the first question, Olivia, I think this is probably a good one for you, and it says, does the design for non-computer science majors, I'm assuming we're talking about the MCIT, does the design for the non-computer science majors mean that the curriculum or the depth of the study stops at bachelor's level, actually when compared to other CS master's degree provided by other institutions?
So that's a great question. The way I like to describe this is to go back quickly to the MCIT Online curriculum that I was telling you about before. So as you saw with MCIT, there's 6 core courses and 4 electives. If you compare to the Masters of Science in Engineering Computer Science on Penn's campus, the curriculum is reversed. So in that situation, they're knowing and understanding that the person already has the undergrad in CS. So they only have 4 core courses, and then they take 6 electives where they can then get into more, different types of topics and specialized areas. So I think that that's a nice way to illustrate it, because it shows that when you have MCIT, it does go into the graduate level topics that you would get in an MSc in CS. It's just a little bit of a different proportions. And then, like I said, if you want to do more, you can. I think that segues into our next question. Am I right, Jackie?
It sure does. So our question number 2 is, are you restricted to just 10 courses, or are you able to take more if interested, say like a fifth elective?
Yeah, so the way it is at Penn is that once you finish your requirements for graduation, you are kind of very politely asked to be done with your program. So if you finish your 10 core courses, then you would be done. Now, you could sort of manipulate your schedule such that maybe in your last semester, you only had 1 course that you needed to take to finish, but you could go ahead and take more than that in your last semester. So that's the advice we used to give. And now I'm happy to say that we have a lot more options post-graduation. So MCIT Online students can come back and take a course. So if you go to our website, there's a whole section on lifelong learning. You can take a course, which is 1 or 2 4-credit courses that you'll get a transcript for. You can basically supplement your degree or augment the topic that you're interested in, or you can do a little more, which would be the online certificate that I mentioned. In that case, you can take 2 to 4 additional electives. So the answer is a resounding yes. If you are excited about taking electives, we have a lot of different ways that you can do that.
Or if you want, you can do the dual degree program and do the MSEDS program as a dual degree student. So when you're in your last semester of MCIT, and again, you reach a certain GPA, then you can apply to the MSEDS program through the dual degree option, which is also, a very, very nice option as well. Let's see, the third question is the format of administration long lectures, or is the content broken up into 10-minute videos and there's some testing at the end of each 10-minute segment? I think you kind of covered that, but maybe you can kind of just clear that up a little bit.
Yeah, it is the latter. So the format is the pre-recorded videos are broken down into smaller segments, and with often with like knowledge checks afterwards. I'm actually going through a course like that myself right now with the shorter videos, and it's really helpful. I can pause the video, I can sort of rewind and go back. Someone suggested that I watch it at double speed, and I laughed because I needed it to go slower. I like the fact that I can kind of digest things at my own speed. But definitely it's that sort of MOOC style of learning where the videos are shorter. Some faculty still like their talking and they get away with longer videos, but that is the ideal for us.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? Okay, I think I can answer this one. May I ask if the MCIT and MSEDS can be applied together at the same time of the application? So you do have to choose a program. So when you apply, you have to choose either MCIT or MSEDS. I do want to mention, let's say you think you're a great fit for MSEDS, or maybe you're not so sure you're a great fit for MSEDS, but you apply to MSEDS. And you send your application in, everything's wonderful, and the committee is reading your application and you're a star applicant, meaning everything is wonderful. Every part of the application, every element is just fabulous, but the committee feels that you don't fit in one of those 3 buckets that Olivia talked about. You don't have a computer science undergrad. You don't really have computer science courses in that second bullet point. And the third bullet point, you need a highly quantitative undergrad degree or degree, and you need to be working in the field for 2 years, and you don't quite fit into that. So they feel that you're really not ready, or you really don't have what it takes for MSEDS. The committee can say, this star applicant, because they've done so great in every one of the elements, we want them in Penn Engineering Online, but they're going to be better at MCIT, and they could accept you to the MCIT program. So even though you might not select the right program necessarily, kind of read the applications for both programs. So if you make an error in which one you choose, we kind of catch that because we are looking at applications for both programs. So it's a little bit of a safety net there as well. Okay, so hopefully that explains that question. But you do have to pick one when you apply, for sure. And again, like Olivia said, if you have questions about it, email us and we can kind of take a look at it as well before you apply. And we have another question here. It says, what are the minimum requirements? This is for MCIT now. So what are the minimum requirements for quantitative courses in the MCIT program? Would it be adequate to have completed a few introductory courses in computer science, database systems, and statistics, or is it necessary to have an undergraduate degree in subjects such as math or engineering?
Yeah, I can answer that. So we don't have an exact formula for how many courses you need to have, but I would say you do not need to have an undergraduate in a quantitative subject. We have students who are English majors, architecture majors. We have dentistry students, lawyers. We have, I think, probably any background that you can imagine. So yeah, definitely a few quantitative, like computer sciencey courses would be great. And then the really key factor is the math, right? Jackie knew what I was going to say.
For sure, for
So
sure.
that's one of the first things we look for when we open an application. So what we really suggest is at least calculus, if possible, either AP credit or for credit in a college setting. Algebra can sometimes be enough as well. And then if you really want to be a overachiever, we would see a discrete math course, because that's the exact type of math that you'll be using in this particular program. So I would say try to make sure you have 1 to 2 really solid math courses at the for credit level, if you can. And I'll also say, if the math that you took was from a really long time ago, I can say my own math was a long time ago now, because it was probably 2002. So if I was applying, what I would do is maybe go online to a community college and take Calculus 2 for credit, so that that the committee can see, okay, I see that, 20 years ago they were good or bad at math, but now I also see a more recent grade that shows their aptitude. This is for the sake of our applicants as well, because we want to make sure that you'll be successful in the program. And if you're really struggling in the math courses, as I said, 2 of the 6 core courses are mathematical. And if you're struggling through those, then you might not be able to succeed. And we want to make sure that that happens.
Yeah, totally agree. And wouldn't you say too, Olivia, so if you have somebody that's preparing for the application and they feel they need to build their application to make it stronger, sometimes I say it's better if you don't have enough math and they're considering either math courses or taking some computer science courses. Sometimes it might be, I would say it might be better to focus on the math. You don't need computer science for this program, but proof of quantitative, particularly math ability, is strong. So you agree, right? It might be better then for them to go the math route if they don't have it, versus computer science courses, correct?
Absolutely. And I would say for kind of the computer science side of things, we're a lot more open to non-credit courses that you might take, such as our own Introduction to Python and Java, specialization on Coursera. There's lots of other amazing specializations out there. And so what that shows us is that, again, especially in cases where your academic record is on the older side, when we see something that's taken online, we say, wow, this person was an English major a long time ago. We can see that in the more recent years, they became interested in computer science. They went to the trouble of taking an online computer science class so they can confirm, yes, they are interested in it. Yes, this is a format of learning that works for them. And so that's a great signal to us that a person is super committed.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, they might actually take the math course at a community college or something like that if they didn't have it. Yeah, exactly. Good. All right,
That's our
perfect.
preference.
I agree. Yep. Let's see. And then another question that I see here is, are the responses to the Dean's Master Scholarship also considered for the overall admission decisions? Or are these responses used solely for scholarship? I will answer that one. The responses to the Dean's Master Scholarship are solely for the Dean's Master Scholarship. So the Dean's Master Scholarship will get reviewed after we know the accepted students. So when you have your accepted students, and then we're looking at all the Dean's Master Scholarships of the accepted students to make those decisions. So those responses have no bearing on whether you're accepted or not. Okay, so the last question, I can answer this one. Is it possible to take on-campus classes during the program? So the on-campus programs and the the online programs and the on-campus programs are basically separate programs. Even though it's the same faculty that teaches on campus for the most part is teaching online, they're still separate programs. You apply, it's a different application for online, different application for on campus. So no, you cannot, bottom line is you cannot take, if you're accepted to the online program, you're taking online courses. They're, it's formatted differently. If you're applied on campus and you're taking on campus programs, then that's the route you're going. So they are completely separate, and you're not mixing and jumping back and forth. So just so that you know that. If you're interested, you certainly can apply to both, but be sure you look at the on-campus timelines, and they're completely different from ours. So you want to make sure that you're looking and learning about those as well. So,
Jackie, can I tell one last story before we end?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. This is my favorite story right now. So this happened last fall with our first annual Fall Festival that I was telling you about, where we invite our online students to come to campus in October and to Philadelphia. And the agenda was about 2 days long, but the day before, a third day, you might say, was when students could come in early and check in, come get their name tags. So we had the check-in process here at our physical office space. We had, a few snacks around. Students could come up, get their name tag, leave. Well, here's the thing. They didn't leave. They saw that there were other students arriving, and they wanted to connect with them and chat with them. And they were so excited. So here we started having this bigger and bigger gathering just in our office. It was not really like a scheduled event. And the excitement was just like off the charts. And then a student started leaving our office suite, and I said, goodbye, thanks for coming. And they said, oh no, I have to take a meeting, but I'm coming back. I don't want to miss this. They left, and then they came back so they could continue chatting and hanging out with their fellow students. So I just thought that was such a great anecdote about the community. And the connections that people are able to form.
Yeah, it really is amazing, especially when you see it firsthand. I remember the graduation last year that I attended was my first in-person event with everyone, and it was just the energy in the room and people that were meeting each other in person for the first time, but almost looked like they knew each other for years because of their connections online. It is really very, very neat to see that, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. We just have a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to bring up the last slide. So you've gotten a ton of information today. Olivia did a great job of explaining our programs. Hopefully you understand the application a little bit better. But now you leave us and all of a sudden you have more questions. What should you do? So the first thing that I would do is go on our website. We have a fabulous website, very user-friendly, and you can go on our FAQ database, type in your question. There are so many questions in that database. I feel pretty confident that you'll get the answer there. That's the first spot to check. You can meet with us. The admissions team has office hours. I think right now we're almost at every day of the week. We'll start having Saturdays in a couple of weeks prior to deadline. So just sign up for office hours. The link, the website is there on how you sign up for office hours, or how you can sign up for office hours. Email us, please. Email us your questions. You can see the email there, online-admissions. We monitor, all of us monitor that email, that inbox. We try to get back to you within 24 hours, usually the same day, but within 24 hours. So if your question didn't get answered today, please email us. I'm telling you to email us. Olivia kind of touched upon this, but there are 2 courses that are offered through Coursera. These are great, especially for the MCIT program and you don't have much experience or any experience at all in the computer science arena. These are those not for credit courses that kind of give you a taste of what the program's like, a little bit of a try it before you buy it, so to speak, as well, in the sense that they're, you know, you're not spending all the money for a program. You want to kind of try it out and get a feel for things. This would be the way to do it. They're also taught by Penn faculty. So computational thinking and problem solving is taught by Susan Davidson, who teaches one of our electives in the MCIT program. And the introduction to programming in Python is taught by Brandon Krakowski, who teaches the first core course in MCIT. So you're going to see some similarities for sure with this and that first core course. The other thing I want to mention, we have lots of coffee chats this week. Please go to our events section on our website. You can sign up for a coffee chat. It's like a group office hours. You can ask your questions. Coffee chats, I think, are always great because you can hear what other applicants are asking, and you might forget or you don't really think about it, and all of a sudden they ask a question, you're like, wow, that's a great question. I didn't even think about that. So coffee chats are great. And then just a little preview, we do have on July 11th, I hope the date's right, but go to the events page. We have 3 current students that are going to be joining us on a webinar and talking about their experiences in the programs. So please join us for that webinar as well. So thank you so much for being with us. This was a great way to kick off the admission cycle, and we're so thrilled to see so many of you. Olivia, thanks so much. It's always fun doing a webinar with you. And everybody have a great rest of your day. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks.